Laporta with the James T. Martin Center for Academic Renewal, and today I'm joined by WGU North Carolina's Chancellor, Dr. Ben Coulter. Dr. Coulter is a former U.S. Army officer who has been in academia for over 15 years. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Ashlyn. It's great to be with you.
Thanks. So I'll just start us off. Can you tell us about what brought you to WGU?
Well, I had known about WGU for many years in previous positions that I had held, and when the opportunity came open to apply for this position at WGU, I jumped on it. And the reason why, I think that the most standout reason is that WGU is entirely student centric. They're focused so much on student outcomes and helping people with their career paths and developing educational pathways, and really an opportunity for me to contribute back somehow. And this certainly, I've been here just coming up on 2 years in this position, and it every day has been unique and different and exhilarating. So I think that the mission of WGU and serving a very wide demographic of students from low income and underrepresented, just a number of profiles of students makes me feel really excited about our outreach and our effort to help others.
So WGU North Carolina was launched as a state affiliate in 2017 at a press conference with former Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest. Can you tell us a little bit about how your enrollment has grown in the past 5 years?
Yes, well, we're very happy to have had a significant growth over the last 5 years, and this is our 5th year anniversary of having our state affiliate in North Carolina. So we've been doing a lot of events and opportunities to commemorate our 5 years in the state. But we have steadily grown in our enrollment during that past 5 years. We've actually grown over 266% within that 5 years, and are averaging 33% enrollment growth per year. So we've had some very steady and kind of a cadence on our enrollment growth that we're very happy with. And again, this is for North Carolinians. It's reaching out to them and offering a very good variety of different bachelor, master's programs that are workforce aligned and career ready type degree paths.
So you told us a little bit, but can you share with us how WGU is kind of set apart from a conventional university?
Sure.
We work a lot with the public and private schools in North Carolina, and so this is kind of entirely different than what we usually work with.
Right. Well, I'm glad to. And I actually used to work in the UNC system, so I'm very familiar with the University of North Carolina system. But so a little bit about WGU and North Carolina. Western Governors University is an online nonprofit university. This is our 25th year actually. WGU is an entity. And we have tremendous numbers at the national level, and within North Carolina, we're almost at 7,000 graduates so far in the 5 years, and over 4,200 students currently enrolled across North Carolina. Some of our uniqueness is that, and being an online institution these days is not as earth-shattering as maybe it was, 5-10 years ago. But that being said, there is a landscape of online universities, and I think what makes us stands out is a couple of things. We're competency-based, and we can talk more about that. But it's a model where proficiency and advancement is based on performance and mastery of content versus seat time. So our competency-based model is something that distinguishes us apart from other either resident or brick and mortar and online universities. We are a nonprofit, as I mentioned. We're located here in North Carolina in Durham, and WGU North Carolina is expressly focused on helping North Carolinians. We also have other attributes. We're fully accredited, both regionally with our university and with our professional programs. We have accreditation with each of those unique agencies. We also offer an accelerated pathway for students. So one thing I think it's important to note is that we offer 6-month rolling terms. So our enrollment starts every month. So as a student, you could start January 1st, February 1st, at your convenience. And students can also enroll in as many courses during that 6-month period as they'd like to. So it's not restricted to three classes per semester or any regulations like that. Really, students can pace themselves and really accommodate their lives and their situation. We're also a very affordable university, in my opinion, where our average annual all cost tuition, includes tuition fees, is around $8,000 a year. Or $4,000 per 6-month term. So that's before any scholarships or financial aid that might kick in. But that low cost structure, I think, is especially appealing for a lot of students, especially adults that might be coming back to complete a degree or to reskill in a new degree or a program area. And cost is obviously a big thing with our economy and just the ability to pay for college. And WG offers a very low cost, high quality education opportunity.
Yeah, I think the affordability and the self-pacing sounds very interesting to me.
My daughter recently, I'll tell you this, and I have an adult daughter who has an undergraduate degree, and she said, Daddy, I want to go to graduate school. And of course, my natural reaction was Western Governors University, and we'll sign you up. And she said, well, WG doesn't have the exact degree program I'm looking for. And I said, oh, shoot. But that being said, I said, well, where are you looking? And she said, well, several other universities. And she was describing it was going to take between 4 to 5 years for her to complete her master's degree. And the cost structure was very much different than what we offer. Our average time to attainment for a graduate degree is just right at 2 years, and about 2.3 years for undergraduate degrees. So there's a time and cost involved with that. Obviously, time that you invest and that you're pacing through, an academic program, and paying kind of full freight, whether in state or out of state, for that whole time period versus an accelerated program that we have that can be very cost effective and have a high ROI very soon after graduation.
Cool.
So anyway, she hasn't hit me up yet on paying for her master's degree, and I'm sure we'll have a conversation. But yeah, it struck me as kind of a very clear difference in what I have been acclimated to with our model and how we can engage learners on their pathway versus the more traditional model that can be more costly and more time consuming than our programs are.
Yeah, for sure. So you shared a little bit, but I wonder if you have anything else that sticks out to you as differing WGU from other online universities, or maybe a university that offers online classes.
Sure. Well, of course, we're accessible. So we have asynchronous learning, and it's online, as we said earlier. So it's available 24/7. One thing that has been our bit of our secret sauce, I'd say, is we have what's called program mentors, and program mentors are, some people associate them like an advisor, but they're much more than an advisor, and they were assigned to a student from day one, and they follow that student and they interact with them throughout their course of study, however long or however short that takes. But our program mentors I characterize them as life coaches as well as academic advisors, and they establish a relationship with each student. They meet with them weekly. They are subject matter experts or familiar with that degree field, so it's not like they're kind of don't know about nursing, but they actually may have either a license or practical experience in healthcare. So they have some affiliation with that academic field that allows them to help speak with the student and work with them, and also just have some level of informal accountability that is good, especially in an online environment where you're much left to your own devices as far as how you pace and how much effort you put into it. So our program mentors, it's interesting when I speak with almost every graduate that I speak with, without fail, the first thing they say is, my program mentor made every difference in me being successful and finishing my degree. And it's like clockwork. And it's, when you hear it so often and so repetitive, there's a trend there that's making an impact and a difference. And it's something that we're quite proud of. Again, I'd underscore our program mentors is our one of our shining stars. We also have a unique model in our competency-based education that we have course instructors, and then we have a separate group that does the evaluations. So we have it set up where there's an unbiased evaluation. It's mostly all performance-based evaluation. But I think that's a unique model to us, that we differentiate and separate that to be as impartial and have a very candid review and a rigorous review of academic work and demonstrating mastery as students go through their programs.
So it sounds like, along with the advisors, I'm sorry, you didn't call them advisors.
Program mentors.
Program mentors, thank you.
Call them PMs if you want to. There, but yes, program mentors.
It sounds like between the mentors and the competency-based model, that's probably what largely sets you apart. Is that what you'd say?
Yeah, and just the fact that we are nonprofit, I think, is an important thing to consider. I mean, there are several for-profit online universities that have emerged over the years that have I feel we have a different intention and a different mission, and it's not based on revenue. It's based on, again, enabling the inherent worth of every individual and creating pathways for them to be successful in attaining an education, and also, where their career aspirations take them. So we're very, as I said before, we're a student-centric organization as a university, and we care deeply about it, and our students are a great reflection of that passion that we have.
Well, that sounds like a very unique opportunity for your students. So you told us a bit about the competency-based learning. Do you have anything else you'd like to share about that?
Well, sure. It's a model that's been around for a while, but I would say that Western Governors University is perhaps the largest practitioner of competency-based education in the higher education space. As I mentioned earlier, it's really based on mastery of content and demonstration of that mastery versus seat time or getting credit hours. And you do get a grade, obviously, in those types of courses, but our degree programs are, very focused on the student demonstrating what they know, and that kind of is the indicator for them to be able to move on to the next course and complete the program. So when they graduate from WGU, they are very skilled and have a very tight hold on the content in their area, and I think are postured well to start a career or to supplement a career they're already working on. So that's, I guess, so again, the competency-based model has been around for several years, but it's always been the cornerstone of how we deliver our academic content, and all of our infrastructure and delivery is based on that model. There was a joint legislative oversight education committee report that came out this week that called out competency-based education as a very valid model of learning for students. And there are more and more colleges and K-12 institutions that are considering or adopting competency-based education. So it's not something that is niche just for a certain higher education market, but it's infiltrating throughout to your colleges, for your public and privates, and in the K-12 sector.
It'll be interesting to see what other places do with that model.
Yeah.
Did WGU have any challenge getting that model accepted by accreditors?
Not that I'm aware of. Maybe the only thing, and this may not be just for competency based, but online programs and I've worked with accreditors for goodness, probably 25 years better in different capacities. But there also is a very, accreditation is a very rigorous process that happens typically, in higher ed every 10 years, but there's a 5-month or 5-year interim review. And part of what they look at is the academic quality and the composition of the curriculum. In an online instruction, one challenge is doing practicums or clinical experiences and those
Mhm.
things that really have to be done face to face. Again, it's one of our strong points that we have a number of clinical partnerships out within states. And again, WGU is in all 50 states, but here in North Carolina and in the Southeast region where I work, we have a number of different clinical partnerships that allow our students to be placed in clinical and practicum settings for different degree programs and do their experiences. Same thing with paraprofessionals and teacher education and doing their student teaching in schools. So a lot of our programs have those components to it, and I know that accreditors look very carefully at what are those face-to-face parts of your curriculum, and how do you approach that and how do you deliver that to the students. So our partnerships, we have partnerships on both the clinical side and also with employers on offering programs for their employees and making pathways available for employers to route their employees to WGU for a particular degree program.
I was curious, I forgot to include it in my questions, but I was curious how it worked for certain degrees when there was like an in-person component, like for teaching or nursing, like you said.
Yeah, well, that's exactly how we do it. We do clinical placements and if, for instance, our teacher education program, our College of Education, is the largest teacher education prep program in the United States, and we graduate a very large. I don't have that exact figure, but we graduate a very large number of teachers across the country every golly, every month we have new graduates because we have early enrollment, but we have a large throughput of teacher that are going through teacher education, and that program is actually accredited by two different agencies, by AQUIP and by CAPE, which are the two leading national teacher accreditation programs. And it's very rare to find one teacher education program accredited by both models. We also, our agencies, we also have reciprocity with states to allow for licensing and having them as licensure ready as possible so that they can, in whatever state they're in, they can take their licensure exam and have all of the prerequisites and the credits and the degree that's appropriate for them to be licensed in the state. So that's a little bit more on, but other than that, it's all very much online learning that we have, and students are doing exceptionally well as graduates. As a night owl, our mascot is the owl, and so we have a great affinity with our graduates, obviously, and they with us. So, with over almost 7,000 graduates in the state, I think that we're making a contribution to the attainment gap in North Carolina and the goals of the state, and we're happy to continue doing so.
We've recently gone through the COVID-19 pandemic. Um, I was curious how WGU's model fared that storm. I imagine that you guys did pretty well considering everything you've told me so far.
Well, I would agree. We at the beginning when the pandemic first really kicked in, we saw a great jump, a great surge in enrollment, and I think that it's kind of obvious why that people were either unemployed, or that might have been a fork in the road that brought on by the pandemic that said, "Gee, I really need to finish my degree, or I want to go into this new field that I've always been passionate about. And here's an opportunity to do that in kind of a short turnaround at a low cost. And so I think that, and then it kind of leveled off, and we had, kind of increasing enrollment, but not the skyrocket. And now it's starting to jump up again. The enrollment is really increasing again nationally, and certainly here in North Carolina. So I think a lot of that ebbs and flows with, it could be the pandemic, could be the economy, life circumstances for people that, again, we're uniquely designed to focused on adult learning and adults. Our average age is right at 35 years old. And we have, again, there, I met a graduate a couple of weeks ago in our commencement that I think he was 61 years old, and he had a very successful career, but he didn't have a bachelor's degree, and needed one to continue on to his next leadership role. And we were the perfect match for that. And so our model is really accommodates people in that age set, and that demographic that are looking for an accredited way to get a degree that they can be proud of, that they can turn around either within their current career or begin a new one. And we also see an increase in growth with our 18 to 24-year-old students. That makes up about 11% right now with WG North Carolina. And even though we're not specifically targeting 18 to 24-year-olds, I think that there's a lot of reasons, and we can talk about that, for why online learning and an online degree might be advantageous and attractive for that population as well.
Well, thank you. So I was curious as well about some of your most popular majors. I know we talked about nursing and teaching, but
Mhm.
what else do you guys offer?
Well, we have four academic degree areas. We have the College of Information Technology, the College of Business, the Leggett School of Health, and our Teachers College, our College of Education. In North Carolina, our largest degree program by far is our Cybersecurity Information Assurance, both master's and bachelor degree areas. I mean, it stands heads and tails above almost all of our other degree offerings. And I think that's a national trend as well as one here in North Carolina. I attribute it, we have such a large military community here in North Carolina, and that seems to attract a lot of military affiliated persons who feel that's a good career path for them. I think it's quite lucrative as far as a career field is. And it's in such high demand, and it's not going away. So I think there's a lot of reasons why people look at IT, and particularly cyber information assurance, as something that has sustainability as a career path. We have a College of Business, and we have many of our business programs that have a high degree of enrollment. We offer a one-year MBA program, and I think it's funny. When I drive up and down the state, I see billboards for one-year MBA all over the place. If you look at the fine print, though, those are typically running $20,000 or $30,000. And you look at WGU, and we're offering that for somewhere in the neighborhood of $10,000 in a shorter amount of time. We have some students that even finish quicker than that, but that's really at their own pace and their own effort they put into it.
So you mentioned this briefly, and we'll circle back around to it. So North Carolina nationally has seen enrollment down at traditional brick and mortar colleges, but as you kind of mentioned with WGU, it's gone up for some online schools. Why do you think that is? And if you also want to discuss why you think enrollment has gone up for the 18 to 24-year-olds.
Well, I'm kind of, I don't want to characterize why the, higher ed in North Carolina is if it has dropped, if there's a trend, I'm not so focused on that. I know that there have been challenges, but again, ours, I think, has been, our increase in steady growth in enrollment over the years that we've been here have been a testament just to the more accepted learning area of online education. I think that students, K-12 has had to do a quick shift to online learning during the pandemic that we all know about. And I think that there's been a lot of validation as students are more familiar, maybe high school students, of having to learn online. And there's different, you have to understand too, there's different qualities and different levels of online learning. A lot of universities and colleges had to jump to the same model, uh, and some, will simply put the lecture online and you watch it, as a video, or you look at notes, and it's really just transcribing the course content into a web page or an LMS, a learning management system, and there's our online learning. But our program again is very intentional, and it uses different methodologies and strategies to engage the learner, starting with the competency-based model. So I think there's different, but I think the familiarity of students, especially 18, 24-year-olds that have had to do online learning as a result of the pandemic, has acclimated them to that experience. And I think when they take a look at it, I've spoken to several of the students in that age group, and they said that the cost factor and the return on investment, if you will, of how long they need to earn a degree, or and maybe they don't need a degree. There's also something called the paper ceiling, which is a kind of a new and emerging concept, but it's really thinking about, there are so many employer areas that value certifications and credentials as much, or maybe even more so in some cases, than an actual degree. So one thing that's noteworthy for us is that many of our programs have embedded um, certificate credentials within inside of the curriculum. So the final exam for a given course might be the actual certification exam for that specialty area, and the cost is built into the tuition, of course, and students have a chance actually to take it as a second time around if they don't pass it the first time. But as they go through a program, they stack up those credentials and certifications, and then they're able to leave us with more than a degree, that they have those bundled certs that are very applicable to the job market.
It sounds like you guys do a very good job of setting your students up for a good career after just getting the degree.
Yeah, in fact, it's interesting. We've done there's been some research on our return on investment, and after the average income increase after 2 years for a student, a WGU graduate, is $18,500. After 2 years, and after 4 years, it's almost $26,000 in salary increase. And I think with just the need for people to be able to either kickstart their career or finish a degree or whatever their circumstances are, we offer an option that allows them to earn a degree that's fully accredited within a shorter amount of time and at a much lower cost. And student loan debt is a huge factor in this country, and we have something called the Responsible Borrowing Initiative that is a very purposed program that counsels and works with each student as they're considering taking out student loans, and trying to minimize the amount of loan that they have. Our average student loan debt when they graduate is under $12,000, which is a light year away from a lot of other traditional college students. When they leave with a degree, they have a burden of debt that hangs around for quite a while.
All right. Well, I've got one more question and then we can wrap
Okay,
it
sure,
up.
you
Um,
bet.
so just in general, if you had to, put out a message to North Carolina's students, what would you want them to know about WGU?
Well, we are WGU North Carolina is located in Durham. We're local, if you will, even though we're an online institution. We have 6-month rolling terms, so that you can enroll for a 6th-month term. There is a fixed cost for that that's inclusive. It averages around $4,000 per 6-month term. You can take as many classes during that time period as you're able to shoulder. So it's really at your convenience on the pacing of how soon or how long you need to take to your degree. We offer a number of scholarships. In fact, we've awarded just under $3 million in scholarships to WGU North Carolina students in the 5 years that we've been established here in the state. In fact, we've awarded almost 700,000 this year alone. So there's a lot of scholarship availability to even bring that low cost down even further for students that are eligible if they apply for those scholarships. We also have a number of community college partnerships across the state. We have 20 now. And a large portion of our students are community college transfer students. They finish a degree at a community college, they have a 2-year degree, associate's degree. We do a great job of articulating those credits that they accumulated during their 2-year degree over to our 4-year degree, or our, it's certainly not 4-year degree. It's less than that, but our undergraduate programs that allow them to, even shorten that attainment gap further with, being able to transfer those credits in. So, a lot of our students, as I said, in North Carolina, come from, either have an associate's degree or have some credits at a 2-year institution, and we can bring those in and close that gap. So those are probably again, I think we mentioned the program mentors before, and I don't know if a student, they may not appreciate that as much when they're considering different institutions on where to go. But I can promise you, when they start with WGU, that program mentor is a big part of their life in a very positive way. Again, it's made the difference in a lot of people saying, I made it across the line and I finished, versus something I just didn't get quite done. And that's one of our, as I said, one of our secret sauces, and something that we have found to be exceptionally effective with helping people finish what they start.
Well, that sounds great. Thank you so much for being here today and for sharing some more about WGU's North Carolina affiliate.
Great, Ashley. Well, I appreciate that. And it was great to talk with you today.